All right, welcome back to Sir Kinnerath's Adventures in UMoria. Before we go any further, I should probably clarify the fact that I'm not particularly good at this game. A full run of this game requires a lot of time, 50 hours, 100 hours, something like that. I've survived for maybe 17-ish on occasion. I've survived for as little as like 15 minutes on rare occasions when I play certain character types that I suck at, like mages. But we're going to do our best, and I'll keep doing a playthrough all the way through as long as I can, divided into roughly 30-minute increments. Stick with me as long as you're enjoying it. Here we are, though, in the very first level of the dungeon. We can tell which level we're at based on this. We are 50 feet below the ground. Now, we haven't actually mentioned our objective yet. This is in the world of Tolkien. If you remember the movies, the books, anything, you'll remember the Balrog that Gandalf fought in Moria. This game takes place in Moria, the dungeons of Moria, the mines of Moria, I guess, an old dwarvish mine. And way down deep is the Balrog. He's on, I've heard conflicting. I've heard he's either on dungeon level 50 or at, what would that be, 2,500 feet below the earth. Or I've heard that starting on level 50, you might or might not encounter him. One way or the other, we have to get down to at least 2,500 feet before we have any chance of encountering him. Kill him, and you instantly win the game. I've never made it close. I've made it down to like dungeon level 15-ish. I don't know, something like that. If that, I'm not sure. Yeah, about 15, 16, but the depth I've gotten down to. But here we are on the very first level. Now, on the very first level, we're not going to be facing terribly difficult monsters. The deeper you go, the worse the monsters and traps and such get. The greater the treasures get as well. But we're not going very deep right now, so it should be fairly weak monsters, which is good because we ourselves are very weak. Now, the next thing you'll notice is our map from before is completely gone. The reason for that is we are standing in absolute darkness. There's no light here. So we want to rectify that by using one of our torches. To light a torch or a lantern or whatever you have for a light source, you press W for wield. And there we go, W for wield. I didn't realize my mouse was not visible to you before. This is the 50 feet I was talking about before. By pressing W, we get our wield screen, and we are going to... What is the letter we want? Asterisk to see what it is, and C is the wooden torch. So press C. Your light source is a wooden torch with 4,000 turns of light. G. That means it's now in inventory slot G, or rather equipment slot G. Press Enter for get rid of the more. And if we press E now... E... Whoops, you don't want to do this. Get out of this. E. You can see again all the stuff we're wearing. Our dagger, our hard leather cap, our soft studded leather, our small metal shield, our set of gauntlets, our cloak, our shovel on our back, and our wooden torch, which now has 3,999 turns of light. Incidentally, our armor class that started at 0 is now 13 because of all of our armor. Still 31 gold pieces left. If you want to see more about your character, you can press Shift-C for character. Brings up all your stats in detail, your name, those abilities we saw at the beginning. It also brings up your experience that you have, which is 0. The maximum experience you could have based on how much you've accumulated. I'll explain that much later in the game. 0. And experience to advance to the next level, 13. I think for an absolute baseline character, at level 1 you would need 10 experience points to advance to level 2. For a human, there's no penalty whatsoever to our experience required to advance, but for a paladin, there's a 35% penalty, which means we need 35% more than a baseline character to advance to the next level. So rather than 10, we need 13. It rounds off fractions, apparently. If you played certain racing class combos, it could be a very much higher penalty. All right. Now, the very first thing we were going to do, we mentioned earlier that we have this new spell, Anxious to Try, Detect Evil. We want to cast it, A, to see if there's anything evil around, but more importantly, because it gains you experience the first time you successfully cast it. How much you gain, I think... Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Shift-P. How much you gain, I think, is 4 times the level of the spell, I believe. So I think we'll get 4 experience points if we cast this, which would be 4 out of 13 on a route to going up a level. Now, we pressed Shift-P to peruse the book. We press no shift, just the letter P, the small case P, for pray. Use which holy book? I remember it's A, but if you ever forget, it's press asterisk. It shows you the list of what holy books you have. We're pressing A for Holy Book of Prayers, beginner. Recite which prayer? Again, I remember Detect Evil is the letter A. We cast it. Now, the fact that it didn't tell us it failed means it succeeded. And it would actually up here say something like you lost your concentration if you failed to cast it. In this case, it didn't say that, so it worked. You can also see our experience leapt to 4 experience points, and nothing showed up, which means there are no evil monsters in our vicinity. The map of any given level is larger than can be displayed in this screen here. It's divided into very discrete sections, not quadrants, because there's more than 4. It might be 3 by 3 quadrants, tridents. I don't know what the hell the word is for that. It might be 9 different sections in an array by 3. Maybe it's 4 different sections across and 4 vertically. I don't know, but there's different sections. When you cast a spell that detects things, it seems to be limited to the section that you're in. So within this section here, bump, 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 there are no evil monsters, but there might be way up above the screen that we can see right now. Now, the map itself is covered in a fog of war. You won't be able to detect what's out there or see what's out there unless you start moving around. These are walls again, remember? These are floors. This is us. Let's start walking and see what we find. Just using the numpad again to move the cardinal directions. Here we are in a nice big room. The room itself is empty. Bunch of different entrances and exits. But let's, oh, not so empty. Here we go. To explain what just happened, first of all, the letter R stands for rodent. I'll show you that in a minute. But to the best of my knowledge, the reason why we didn't see them a second ago is that monsters do spawn or respawn in Moria. They can spawn at different locations. It doesn't seem to care where you are. It can spawn them right next to you. It's very rare. You don't often see monsters spawn. It's extremely rare to see 2 of them spawn at once. But I believe that's what just happened. Now, if we want to know what this is, again, /R will tell us it's a rodent. Pressing no for details. And if I press X for examine and a direction, I can see specifically what it is a giant white mouse. And if I press R for recall, at least 87 of these creatures have been killed by contributors to your monster memory. It is normally found at depths of 50 feet. That's where we are, so it's a very low-level monster. Very weak monster. And moves a bit erratically at normal speed. A kill of this natural creature. Remember we mentioned evil creatures? Natural is a different type. So it's not an evil creature, it is a natural creature. It's worth 1 experience point for a first-level character. So killing this will give us 1 experience. It has an armor rating of 4, that's its armor class, versus armor rating of 13. And a life rating of 1d3. It means it has 1 to 3 hit points. We have 16. It can breed explosively. That's very important. I'll come back to that in a second. It is warm-blooded. If we had infravision, we could have seen it farther out. Maybe that's why I didn't see it. I don't think so, though, because this room is lit. It takes a while to see intruders, which it may notice from 80 feet away. It can bite to attack. So breaking that all down, it has 1 attack, which is a standard bite. We don't know how much damage it does yet. Probably very little. It can theoretically notice us from 80 feet. I mean, I think that means 8 squares away. But it takes a while to see you, which means most of the time it won't notice you even as you close in that distance. Until it notices you, it'll just sit there doing nothing. Once it notices you, it starts moving around and doing its thing. Now, the most important thing about white mice, they breed explosively. If I was to just ignore these things, they would start creating copies of themselves very quickly. Not as quickly as some monsters, but fairly quickly. So you don't want to linger too long or we'll find ourselves overrun with white mice. And even though they're very weak, when you're facing 20 or 30 of them, that can be a death sentence. So we are going to want to kill it rather quickly. Let's get out of this menu. Escape. Aborting look. Okay. I'm going to move towards it. You can see them moving around. It says the giant white mouse misses you, so it swung at me. Now to attack in Moria, it's very much a standard roguelike in how you do that. All you have to do is bump into a monster to attack it. It's called bump to attack. If I try to enter its square, I'll swing at it, and then it'll swing back if it's got a chance to do so. So I'm going for the one to the southwest. I hit the giant white mouse. I have slain the giant white mouse. So it's dead. More, so press enter. The white mouse bites you. Now you say it's dead. Why are there 2? Well, one of them bred and created a second one after I killed the first. That's why you got to kill them fairly quickly. Here, that one's dead. And that one's dead. Okay, they're gone. Again, left to their own devices, things that breed can overrun you quick. And you'll see we have 7 experience points. We're getting closer to leveling up. Also notice, our current hit points, we did take some damage. Our maximum hit points right here is 16. our current hit points is 13. Now, if we had a curative potion or a cure spell, we could get those back fairly fast. But you can also gain back hit points literally just by passing time. As we walk around, our hit points will come back, but we can also do something called resting. So let's go in here. There, you see, in the short time we did that, we're up to 14 hit points instead of 13. Resting, all it really does is you're telling the computer, pass my turn a whole bunch of turns until I'm back. But to rest, you press Shift-R. Rest for how long? At this point, I could type in a number. I could type in 1,000, and it would pass 1,000 turns. I could type in 6, it would pass 6 turns. While I'm passing turns, it will interrupt the rest if another monster comes into view or if anything happens to me. So it won't let you continue resting while you're being attacked. But one thing you can do, instead of saying a number, is type in an asterisk. The asterisk means rest until all of my hit points are back and all of my mana is back. Your mana will also recover over time. Not quite as fast as your hit points will, but it will recover. If you remember, we have a maximum mana of 2. We're down to 1 because we cast Detect Evil. So rest until everything's back. There. We now have 2 mana and 2 hit points. Or 2 hit points more than we had. So we're fully healed. Now you might say, why don't you just always rest? And to be honest, it's wise to rest as often as you need to. But there are some things fighting against you, and that's that, 1, our torch is now down to 3,940 turns. So your light source will diminish while you're resting. Likewise, we will get hungry. If you remember, we have rations. We have 5. When you get hungry, you need to eat. If you don't eat, you'll eventually faint and die, and terrible things will happen. So you need to keep a supply of food on hand. And if you rest, the more you rest, the more turns you're passing, the closer you are to getting really hungry. All right. White worm mass. You've hit the white worm mass. I know all about this, but I'll show you again. X for examine, to the left, recall it. You can see here, 73 killed, found at 50 feet. It's worth 2 experience, so it's more valuable. Has an armor rating of 1, so it's actually easier, I think, to hit than the mouse was. But has a lot more life, a life rating of 4d4, so 4 to 16 hit points instead of 1 to 3 like the mouse had. Like the mouse, it can breed explosively. Don't let it do so. It moves slowly, though. It is fairly observant of intruders, which you may notice from 70 feet. It can crawl on you to poison, so it can also poison us if it hits. So we're going to kill this thing quickly. It's not a terrible threat to us, but it's worth killing. There it is. Gone. Okay. Here we are in another room. The next thing you'll notice, and something we didn't point out before, right here you'll see another staircase down. If we use that, we'd be down to 100 feet. Every level is 50 feet deeper than the last. We're not going to go down right now, though, because we're first level and we don't want to fight monsters that tough. You'll also notice that although we came down a staircase, there was no staircase back up to the surface. Every time you enter a new map, it completely randomizes the map. You'll never get back to this even if you go back to the town and come back to the first level of the dungeon, it won't be this first level. It'll be a brand new first level. I guess the conceit is that the mines are so vast, you'll never find your way back to where you were before. And also in particular, if you go down a level, you can't immediately find your way back up. So you have to be a little bit careful not to go too fast down a level because you might get trapped down there. For now, we're going to stay on the first level and look for a staircase back up so we know how to get back out when it's time. Now you'll notice something else just happened. Up here it says, it touches you. That means there is an invisible monster around me somewhere that just touched me. And actually, by touching me, attacked me. So my hit points are down from 16 to 15. Being invisible, I have no idea where it is. It's probably not here because I just came from there, but it could be anywhere else. We can get a sense of it, though, just to show you, by pressing prayer, P for prayer, A, holy book, detect evil. It's not an evil creature, whatever it is. If it had been a ghost or something, it would have shown up there. So whatever it is, it's not evil. I'm going to back into the hallway. Just touch me again. And then I'm going to, sometimes I find this works. You can, there, I hit it. It chased me down the hallway. I could figure out it's probably going to do that. If I keep backing up, I can hit it. So I hit it, and I miss it. I'll come back to that in a second. Just bear that in mind that it said I hit it, I miss it. There, I hit it, I've slain it. So it's dead. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now, I hit it, I miss it. What's that all about? You remember in the last video, I mentioned the fact that a dagger might actually serve us really well right now. We're using a dagger for a weapon. If you're using a particularly light weapon, The lighter it is, the better for this particular purpose. If your strength and or your dexterity are high enough, possibly a combo with both, you get multiple swings per turn with that weapon. To be honest, it's a feature I don't quite like about Moria, or about Angband, any of Moria's successors, because sometimes it makes it feel like you should deliberately try to use the lightest weapon you can find, and why that seems unfun is that finding better, more powerful weapons is part of the game that makes it fun, right? Exploring. In practice, I think you're still usually better off using heavier weapons, but if I had made the game, I would not have put that in about the multiple attacks, personally. Just saying. I don't like that factor. But we did get 2 swings with our dagger. Useful to remember. Okay. Moving right along. You'll notice this too. This is a period. These are periods for floor. This is not a period. This is a weird little symbol. So let's take a look and see what that is. I think it's an apostrophe. It is an open door. Now, an open door, we could go up to it and press C for close and the direction. Whoops, did that work? Oh, the door appears to be broken. I can't do anything with it, it's already broken. But if it hadn't been broken, we could open and close it. But we won't worry about that right now. I'll show you that when we find a door that's functional. You'll also notice I can only see 1 square around me, unless I'm in a lit room. Not all rooms are lit. On the first level, I think they all are. The deeper you go, the more often you'll find rooms that are not lit. I think the lit rooms are literally like torches are on the walls, that kind of crap. The lights are on. Okay. I don't know if you noticed, I stepped on an exclamation point, which is a potion. An exclamation point always signifies a potion. You have an orange speckled potion, C. Go to our inventory. We are carrying an orange speckled potion. Now this is one of the more interesting features of Moria, and a lot of roguelikes, and that's that they will randomize descriptors for items each game. So that potion, I have no idea what it does. In Moria, you can both drink a potion, or you can throw a potion. You drink potions if it has a positive effect and you want it to affect you. You'd throw a potion if it has a negative effect and you want to throw it on something else. It functions like a grenade. Actually, I'm not even sure if that's true in Moria. That is absolutely true in Rogue. You can throw potions at monsters in this. You can throw anything at monsters in this. I'm not sure if they explode like grenades in this. I'll have to look that up. They do in Rogue. To drink it, I'm not going to do so. You'd press Q, and it would give a chance to Q for quaff. I could quaff that potion and find out what it does. While we're on that subject, it said it was an orange speckled potion. If I were to quaff it, whatever effect it has would be true for all orange speckled potions for the rest of the game. So if it was a healing potion, as an example, and I drank it and found out it was a healing potion, the next time I found an orange speckled potion, it wouldn't say you found an orange speckled potion. It would say you found a healing potion. So that's one way you can learn what they do. On the other hand, they can be quite dangerous. They're poison potions and everything else. So better not to do that unless you have a specific reason or desire to. Better not to experiment with crap you don't know what it is if you can avoid it. There are other ways to learn what things do, and we'll come to that when we find an opportunity to do so. Now, another feature of Moria that is extremely common in this game are secret doors. You often find them at dead ends. I'm almost certain there's a secret door here. It's just you get used to intuiting where they are. Now, to find them, you can press the letter S repeatedly. Every time I press S, I search the surrounding area. I search all the surrounding squares, all 9 surrounding squares, for secrets. Not just secret doors, incidentally, also for traps, if there were any. Now, you remember, my character, by pressing Shift-C, searching is very poor, perception is bad. I don't know which is which. But one of the two aids us in our attempt to search for secret doors. Because we're bad at it, we may have to search multiple times. So I can press S 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times. There it is. I found a secret door. There could be still more. There might be one here and here as well. But for now, this is all I'm going to search for because we're wasting time looking for it. You can also just hold down the S key. Eventually it'll show up if there's something there. You can also press Shift and 3 or the number key. And when I do so, watch somewhere down here. There, searching. If I press the number key, the hashtag symbol, I put myself into search mode, which means every step I take, it then searches. I think it doubles the amount of time it takes you to walk around, but it literally has you search with every step you take once. So it can be useful if you're trying to search an area exhaustingly. I don't tend to do it very often. Pressing the hashtag again gets rid of it. Now, looking to our left, what do we see here? The plus sign is a closed door. I mentioned C. The letter C can close a door. The letter O, it stands to reason, can open a door. So press O for open. Which direction? I want to open the door to my west. Pressing 4. And there it's open. Now we look at it. It is an open door, pardon me. If I press C, I can close it again. Now, why do you care about open or closed doors? Doors can be locked. Doors can be stuck. These things can be obstacles to you. But there are also a lot of monsters that can't open doors. So if you're ever trying to get away from a really, an animalistic monster or a monster that would lack opposable thumbs, say, closing a door to block their ability to access you can be a good way to avoid them. For now, though, let's open that back up and walk through it. Another open door to our north. Let's see what's behind it. There we go. Nice big room, nothing in it. Another staircase down. You'll notice, watch right here as I step in the room. There. Because that showed up exactly as I entered the room and I couldn't see it before, I know it's a monster, I think. I think you can see objects from a distance. I could be wrong. In any event, there's something there. If I press X and northeast, X for examine, northeast, it is a gray mushroom patch. It's a monster. You see what it says here. The most important thing to tell about it is it can release spores to confuse. So it has a special attack where it can confuse me. When you're confused, you kind of wander randomly, unless you pass your turn, in which case you stay still. You also can't pray or cast spells, I think. You certainly can't pray when you're confused. One thing to note about spores or mushroom patches and jellies, another one. Even though it says it moves at normal speed, they are immobile. I'm not sure why it doesn't say that. Oh, I guess here it does, but does not deign to chase intruders. So I guess that's how often it gets an attack at normal speed, but it doesn't. It'll never move from its square. So we could just avoid it by staying away from it, but we're not gonna. Let's go kill it for 1 experience point. There's dead, and we're up to 11 experience. We're almost up a level. Let's search this area. Nothing. Let's go down here. Oh, fuck, I was moving fast enough that I killed that thing. You hit the giant white centipede. There we go, our double attack again. You've slain the giant white centipede. Welcome to level 2. So we're up a level. You can learn some new prayers now. If you remember, peruse A. That's Shift P, letter A for our book. At level 2, we gain the Cure Light Wound spell. So if we press Shift G for gain, you've learned the prayer of Cure Light Wounds. So now we can cast that as well if we ever need to. There'd be no point in doing so right now because we're at maximum hit points. You'll also notice we leveled up. We went from 16 hit points to 20. Our constitution being 13, not great. Our hit points are not going to go up very fast, but at least they went up. And incidentally, we also need more experience now. Let's go to C. So we have 13 experience. We need 33 to get to the next level. Another 20. Probably a secret door here. I'll show you. No, oh yeah, there is. There you go. I searched by holding down the S key. But that's kind of a waste of time. I shouldn't have done that because I don't really need to go through there right now. Open this door. Another monster to our north. A floating eye. Again, bear in mind, if you have not played the game before, your monster memory will be empty. You won't know anything about these things. It might tell you it's a floating eye, but it won't tell you anything else about it. It's because I've killed 42 of them over all my previous playthroughs that I know this much about it. 50 feet is found at. At level 2, it's worth 0.5 experience points. I'll come back to that in a second. It is magical, casting spells which drain mana. 1 time in 13, which means on any given turn, it has a 1 in 13 chance of casting a spell at me, and if it does so, my mana will drain. Not too concerned about that right now, but it could. It's warm-blooded, we can see it with infravision. It's fairly observant, it can notice from 20 feet, and it can gaze to paralyze. So it has a special attack as well, where it can paralyze me, in which case I can't move or do anything while it has its way with me, until such time as it wears off. But nonetheless, it's not that terrible of a monster. Let's talk about the half experience for a second level character. Now, the deeper you go, as I said, the tougher the monsters get. Tougher monsters are worth more experience points. But also, the higher the level you get, there's a modifier put on how much experience points monsters are worth. So eventually, it becomes very pointless to stay on level 1 and just farm monsters indefinitely. Because your gain is so minimal that it would take you an extra 1,000 years of real time to go up a level. For now, though, half an experience point, we only need 20, so if we killed 40 of these things, we'd be up a level. So let's at least kill it. And it's dead, nice and easy. Open that door. Let's search here. Nothing. Search here. Oh, there we go, a bunch of doors. Just had to keep searching. Let's go south. Oh, there we go. I tried to open the door to the south. It said you failed to pick the lock. Now again, I think disarming is the skill in question there. I could be totally wrong. Maybe it's perception for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what perception does. So, but there is a skill that would help you disarm or pick locks. Rogues would be good at it to start. I'm not. Now I could just keep trying to do that. I could press O and south, O and south, and eventually I'd probably succeed. There is another option, though, that I, in particular, given my strength, would be better at. If I press F, that stands for force. Force which direction? South. You smash into the door, you are off balance. Now, every time I throw myself at the door, one of three things will happen. It'll crash open. Nothing will happen. I'll stay here, the door will stay shut, and nothing else will happen. It'll say the door stands firm. Or I'll be off balance. When I'm off balance, I think it literally means I miss my next turn. And if there was a monster there, sometimes when you crash through the door, you're off balance, and the monster on the other side will get a free attack at you. So it can be a little bit dangerous, but it's not that big a deal. I'm just going to force it until it breaks. There we go, it's open. You smash into the door crashes open. Incidentally, now we look at that door. It is, well, sorry, let's not do that. Let's do close to the north. Close. Oh, it worked. Interesting. I could have sworn when you bash open a door, that breaks it. Apparently not. Maybe sometimes it does, maybe sometimes it doesn't. I don't know. Incidentally, you'll notice we got down off the screen and our screen shifted in terms of seeing a different part of the map. That's what I mentioned. We're in a different section. If we cast Detect Evil now, it'd be a totally different section for detecting. One thing you can do if you get totally lost is press Shift M for map. That will consolidate the entire map into one screen. Now, as you can see, you lose a lot of detail. You can't even tell where the corridors are. Not really, but at least you can tell where key features like stairs are and doors and stuff. Some doors, anyway. So it can be a way to figure out, to get your bearings. It also shows where you are in relation to the outer limits of where the map could be. Angband, which is a successor to Moria, you can think of it as Advanced Moria, also has a command key that lets you scroll the map around. I don't believe Moria has it. If it does, I haven't figured out what keys you use to do that. If somebody knows, please tell me. Let's search here. Nothing. In the meantime, let's just keep looking around. The screen shifted again. I killed another mouse. Another staircase down. We need a staircase up before we can do anything of value. Just to have a way to get back to the surface. We found no treasure yet, mind you. It would be pointless to go to the surface. We have nothing. We have no more money than we started with. It's been a very dry run for that so far. Let's hope we change that by finding some treasure soon. Okay, another feature of the dungeon. There's rubble blocking your way. That's what this colon is. Here's where the shovel can come in handy. It's not the primary use of it to me, but it is useful. Press Shift and X to exchange our weapon. Now our primary weapon is a shovel. Then hold down the Control key and press the direction you want to tunnel or shovel. There, I removed the rubble, so it's out of my way. I think you can do that even with a dagger, or maybe your bare hands. But the shovel will do it much faster. It takes a lot less turns. if you want to tunnel through walls, I think I could even, like, this is a granite wall. If we look to our, how do I do this? Examine south? Nothing. Okay, I can't, I'm not sure how to do it, but this is a granite wall to my south. You could even tunnel through that. I could use a shovel and literally start digging through and creating a new opening. But it would probably take a really long time, and it would be generally pointless as a rule, unless you had a reason to do so. Incidentally, also, oh, I forgot to switch back, didn't I? No, okay, switch back. There is a +1 here next to the shovel. Actually, I think the +0 and +0 here would be the same. If I was using the shovel as a weapon, this would be its plus to hit. This would be its plus to damage. It does 1d2 damage. 1 to 2 damage as a weapon. But I think this is its bonus to digging. I think it digs with a +1 bonus, whatever that means. Maybe it takes 1 turn less. Maybe it digs twice as fast. I don't know. But it did clear that rubble pretty fast. Sometimes it takes more than 1 turn. Oh, white icky thing. I missed it. I hit it. It touches me. Let's find out all about the white icky thing. Recall. It's worth 1 point for a 2nd level character. And it can touch to attack with damage 1d2. So you've seen... here I've killed 44 of them. I think I'd killed 80 some odd of the rodents, the white mice. And I didn't know how much damage the white mice did, I don't think. But if you kill enough things, not only do you learn like how it can attack, it can touch to attack. But here's how much damage it does. So I know it has 1 attack per turn. Each time it can attack once. And it'll do 1 to 2 damage if it hits me. But here I have not learned how many health it has. Interesting. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's random what you learn as you go. But it's dead, either way. Now I've killed 45, not 44. We're going to call this game done, or this video done pretty soon, because it's been about a half hour of exploring this dungeon. And as you can see, although I'm going slightly slower than I normally would because I'm taking the time to explain things, it does take a while to get around. I mean, this is still dungeon level 1. You might want to visit given dungeon levels multiple times because they do regenerate as a random new place every time. You do have to kind of grind in this game to get some experience to get down to that Balrog. But there's 50 levels at least, so it can take a long time to beat the game, assuming you do, which again, I've never even come close. Now here, let's look to our left, that money symbol. First of all, what is a money symbol? Let's press slash and the money symbol. It's treasure. Okay, so we know it's treasure of some sort. Now if you specifically want to look at that treasure in particular, look to our west. You see copper. Okay, it's copper treasure, and it is in a quartz vein. That's all you see in that direction. Now, sometimes treasure is laying on the open ground. If you do that, if it's on the open ground, all you got to do is walk into it, boom, and you pick it up. But in this case, because it's embedded in the wall, I can't do that. And here's where the shovel or a pick would come in handy. You want to switch to it, and then I'm going to start digging by pressing Control and the direction. I tunnel into the quartz vein once, twice, 3, 4, 5. There we go. It took me 5 times, but I did it. You have found something. You finished the tunnel. Now, if we look at it, you see copper, and it's not in a quartz vein. So now I can step on it. Boom, I step on it. I found 18 gold pieces worth of copper. I've gone from 31 gold to 49 gold. So hey, at least we have more money now when we go back to town. Oh, we forgot to switch back, didn't we? Yep. And here the gray mushroom patch releases a cloud of spores, but it didn't confuse me, so I'm okay. I think it did some damage. I was at 20, I'm down to 18. But it's dead. Now, we don't really need this spell right now, but if you remember, we get experience for casting spells. So let's take a look at this. The first time we cast Cure Light Wounds, we're going to gain experience. 32% chance it'll fail. It's a level 2 spell, so my assumption is if I cast it, I'll get 8 experience points. I'm going to test that, see if it goes to 23 right now when I cast it. P for Pray, A for the Holy Book, and B was the Cure Light Wounds. That worked. No, it didn't work. You lost your concentration. So you see it failed. It rolled less than that 32%. My mana dropped, and I did not cast it. So I'm going to rest until we get our mana back. Now, in the process of resting, we also got our health back, so there's no point in casting it now. We actually want to get hurt again. I killed another centipede. I just want to show you that one last thing, and then we'll call it a game. Oh, large brown snake. I'm moving too fast. Now, there was a brown snake there. I hit it. I missed it. It moved away. Remember it mentioned some monsters move erratically? There you go. It moved erratically. It literally left the vicinity. But if I wait a turn, you can wait by pressing the 5 key. I bet you it'll come back. There it is. Let's take a look at it too so we know what it is. Recall large brown snake. It's worth 1.5 experience points for me. It can bite to attack and crush to attack. So it gets 2 different attacks per turn. Every time it attacks me, it can attack twice. Once biting, once crushing. Moves slowly and erratically. I hit it, it's dead. Now I think slowly is not just how often it literally moves, but also how often it can attack. Let's switch to the shovel. Oh, got it. I don't think I even needed to switch to the shovel. It was just treasure on the ground there. The letter S. Now normally that would be a skeleton. You'd want to worry about that, a potential adversarial skeleton monster. But if we examine it in this case, it's a human skeleton. Now if it said skeleton human, that would be an actual animated corpse of a human in skeletal form attacking me. A human skeleton is literally just a dead corpse of a skeleton. I could pick it up and carry it if I wanted to. I could literally go over there and step on the square, which I'll do just to show you. And I would gain it in my inventory. There, you have a human skeleton. Incidentally, it tells you what letter slot it's put in. It's put in E, but let's look at our inventory. Inventory, we're carrying a human skeleton. Now, the reason I want to show you that is, A, to show you could do it, but also because I haven't shown you yet how to drop things. Press D for drop, and the letter you want to drop, we know it was E. There, I dropped the human skeleton. There it is in the square again, so we don't have to carry that. There's no point in carrying that. I don't think you can sell a skeleton. Pretty morbid if you could. Might be cool to see a mod of this game that had a funeral home or something where you could sell corpses, but in this one you cannot. Here's another centipede. Let's take a look at it. Giant yellow centipede as opposed to the white ones. Found at 50 feet, worth 1 point. Can bite to attack and sting to attack, so it can attack twice. It moves at normal speed. Hasn't noticed me yet. There we go. I hit it. I killed it. Easy peasy. Just holding the key down to move fast here. Oh, I didn't notice anything. I killed that rodent as well. Oh, we can tell that actually. If you press the plus key on your number pad, it'll bring up the last message you saw. You hit the giant white mouse, you've slain the giant white mouse. That's the last thing we saw. It's like a message list. If I press it a second time, it'll show me all the last things I saw for a little while. So here's all the last text messages we saw. Press any key to continue. So again, this plus sign to see the last message, or plus sign to see specifically the last thing. And the giant white mouse dead. We're not in much danger here on this level. We can move kind of quickly. I want to get hurt so I can show you that cure spell, but I really do have to wrap this up soon or it's going to be a long-ass video. All we're doing for the time being, oh, nice room full of monsters, is walking around, killing things anyway. To the right, we see a kobold. The reason these are kind of cool to kill, I've only killed 3 of them, apparently. Interesting. Oh, no, 3 of them. 3 of my predecessors, 3 of the characters I played in the past got killed by kobolds. I've killed 47 of them. But worth 2.5 experience, and it can sometimes carry a small object or treasure. It can hit to attack, so we want to kill it pretty fast. Now, we don't want to engage them all at once, so I just wasted 1 turn so the centipede would advance on me. It did. There, it's dead. Now I'll move towards the kobold. It's dead, and it dropped that thing to my left. See that money? 29 pieces of copper. Next, I want to kill that eye, because if you remember, eyes can sometimes drain your mana. So I don't want to give it a chance to wake up and start doing that. There, it did right there. The floating eye draws psychic energy from you. It appears healthier. So my mana dropped, and I think it gained health. It might only be able to heal itself if it's already been injured. I don't know. Or else it actually got more health. Either way, it's dead. Killed this large black snake. Ooh, I should double check about that. Large black snake. You'll see monsters are often differentiated by color. Normally it's found at depths of 100 feet, so it's a little bit, it's called out of depth. It's a monster that should be usually found a little lower in the dungeon. So it's a little more dangerous. Look how much it's worth. 9 experience points if I kill it. It can bite to attack and crush to attack, so it can do some serious damage to me. I should be actually quite careful here. I'm going to try one more time to swing at it. You see I'm already down to 14 hit points. I hit it. I miss it. It must move slowly. Is that right? It moves slowly, so it won't always get to attack me. I could probably even... There. By moving down one step, it then became its turn. Its turn, it moved towards me. It didn't get to attack. So if I attack it again, I miss it, I hit it, and then I retreat one. Okay, so slowly means it moves half at my speed. Every other turn it gets to move. So I can kind of dance with it like this. If I can attack it, I hit it, now I can retreat one. And it uses its attack to try and get to me. There, it's dead. That's a pretty basic technique, and to be honest, that's the first time I've ever used it. So it shows you I'm not a very good player. There we go, we're 3rd level. We can learn new stuff. Let's learn the new spell. It's Bless. Peruse A, so you see what that is. We're almost done with this video. Level 3, we learned the Bless spell. You can't actually see what they do here. You actually have to look them up online or in the manual. Bless will very briefly give me 2 extra armor class and give me +5 to hit, I think. But for now, we want to pray. Use Witch Holy Book A. And we want to use the Holy Spell B, which is Cure Light Wounds. There, I feel better. I just gained a bunch of hit points and I gained experience. I didn't frickin' look to see if I gained 8 experience points out of that. So rewind the video and tell me. Actually, I'll look at it myself when I finally come back and play. I'm just going to kill this last monster. Maybe I'll cast... I can't. I don't have enough mana to cast anything else useful. Large white snake, incidentally, is a easier snake. Yeah. And it's dead. All right, so we're going to wrap up the video right here. The next time we come back, we'll finish exploring dungeon level 1. Convenient timing, because someone's trying to contact me on the phone. And I'll come back and play some more a little later, and we'll pick up from where we left off and see how far we can get with Sir Kinnereth. Probably a lot more videos yet, because I doubt I'll die on the early levels. See ya. Saving it, there's my high score list. You can see I play Paladins incidentally a lot. I play mages once in a while, and I always die. I have, in other versions of Moria, by the way, played rangers and warriors and maybe priests? I don't know if I ever played priest. I've definitely never played a rogue. There you go. Anyways, stopping. Bye.